What is happening, friends of the GrayScale? Oh, there I am. I wasn't on the screen for a second, but there I am. It is 8 o'clock p.m., roughly, on a Friday night, which means that it is time for 10 Minutes with Tim, where I give you 10 minutes worth of my 2 cents. What is going on with our video here? Never mind, here it comes. Sorry, I'm trying to pull it up on my phone. I'm trying to pull it up on my phone. Cool. We got sound, we have video. We're in good shape. I have Facebook chat up so I can see if anybody wants to chat. What's up, Kaylin Smith? Welcome back to the show. You watched Friday night, I think, as well, when it was me and Ray a little bit. And now here we are back again for Monday, 10 Minutes with Tim, where I give you 10 minutes worth of my 2 cents. I want to show you guys something. I am 38 years old. I have been eligible to vote through the first Bush, not the first President Bush, but the first of the second Bush's first terms. So the first George W. term until now, which is 5 elections plus this one. 2 Bush, right? Bush was elected twice, right? Yeah. And then 2 Obama, and then 1 Trump. So that's 5. And now a second, or maybe not a second Trump, but probably a second Trump. I'm just going to say it. Probably a second Trump, whether I think so or not, or whether I agree or not. But for the first time ever, in the 6 elections that I've been eligible to vote in, I voted for the first time. First time ever, which is cool. So a lot of people told me that the backdrop's good, right? It's just a black backdrop. It's nothing fancy. This is just a black sheet, essentially, basically. We'll flatten it out a little bit. I know Ray earlier said, man, that thing got some wrinkles in it. We're going to have to get the ironing board out on that thing. People told me, like, oh, man, voting, it's like this cool experience. And, literally this took me 10 minutes. The only story to tell about my voting experience was that I drove to the polling place and realized that I didn't have my mask with me, and that they probably weren't going to let me in without it. So I had to drive back to the shop and get my mask and then go back. But it's literally like a block away. I could probably walk there just as well, but I drove because I was going to get lunch while I was out and everything. So I walked in, and there was one lady waiting in front of me. There were people already in there doing the thing, but there was one lady directly in front of me, waiting to get inside. And she went in, and then I stepped up, and I went up to the lady to give her my license. It was actually a lady that I know, Crystal Anthony. She's a long-time local as well. And she handed me the little slip. I took the slip to the next person. That person gave me the ballot. I went to the little ballot box thing and filled it out. I knew exactly who I was wanting to vote for before I got there. So that went super fast. And, we're still live, right? Yeah, okay. So it went super fast, and I was only there for a few minutes and got out and went back to work. It wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't anything special. I don't really feel anything about it. Somebody was like, oh, you're never going to forget it. And I was like, I don't know. It's wasn't that big of a deal. I guess I won't ever forget it because it's I don't just go around forgetting things necessarily. But it wasn't anything crazy that I needed to like. I'm glad I did it. Um, I know that you guys already know who I who I voted for because I've been pretty vocal about who I voted for or who I was voting for. I did vote on some local elections too. I'm not going to tell you guys how I voted for those. Well, the governor of Florida, I think, right? Or some seat, a state representative of Florida, that was up. One of those seats was up, or one of those things was up. So I voted for one of those people. And then a local county commissioner, I think. Um, and I voted for one of those. And then I did vote for, you get to vote on the amendments to the state constitution, yes or no. So I voted on the ones that I cared about on those. And I would like to say that if you haven't gone to vote yet on Amendment 1 in the Florida, on the Florida ballot, Amendment 1 is a tricky amendment. The way that the Constitution of Florida reads now is every citizen is allowed to vote in state and local elections. That's essentially what it says. They want to somebody wants to change it to say only a citizen can vote, which is also true. But they need to keep the word every in there because changing it to say only a citizen implies that not necessarily every citizen can vote. Just because only citizens can vote doesn't mean that all citizens can vote. But every citizen being allowed to vote doesn't mean it should say both, essentially. Should have to be a citizen of the state of Florida to vote in Florida, and every citizen of the state of Florida should be allowed to vote in the state of Florida. So vote no on that, in my opinion, because it's tricky wording. It's tricky wordplay. They're trying to, I think they're trying to slide something in under the radar. I think they're trying to change that wording now so that they can change it again in the future. So if you say only a citizen can vote, then next time there's an election or next time it goes up on the ballot, you could say only a white citizen can vote, or only a whatever, right? Only a male citizen can vote. You've taken out the word every. You think the age should be 16? Get off my page. We're not friends anymore. You think that for real, Donnie? I mean, you're allowed to think that. You know what? Honestly, I don't think that 16-year-olds should be allowed to vote. But I also don't see much of a difference between 16-year-olds and 18-year-olds. So it depends on how you look at it. If there's not that much of a difference between the two, then yeah, maybe 16-year-olds should be allowed to vote. But if that's the case, then 16-year-olds should be adults. You're throwing me for a loop a little bit on this one. But either way, if you haven't gone to vote yet and you care about my opinion, some of them do, sure, yeah. Income tax, I guess, yeah. Well, technically in the state of Florida, we don't have a state income tax. They do pay, like, I guess if they have a job and a car and things like that, then they're buying products, then they're paying sales tax, and they're paying. That's interesting. That's an interesting. We should talk about that on the show. They are tax-paying citizens. Interesting. We should definitely talk about that on the show. And there was something else I wanted to talk to you about for us to talk about on the show. But anyway, um, yeah. So I voted today for the first time ever. I got this cool sticker. I didn't take a peppermint. They had peppermints there, but I didn't get one. Sorry, I have something in my teeth. Um, it was sort of anticlimactic. Like I went in and I did it, and that was it. It was over. But it was a lot like my sex life. Like I just went in, I did it, and it was over. I don't have a sex life, but if I did, that's how it would go. But yeah, I'm glad I did it because this is the way I'm looking at it. You guys all know that I wasted my vote. Okay, everybody knows that I wasted my vote, quote unquote. But I really don't think I wasted my vote. I think that my vote was placed exactly where it needed to be placed in order to disrupt the system. And that's what my intention was. I think that there are a lot of new voters, voters who, like myself and Ray, who have never voted before, who are tired of the way things work. We've never voted because we've never felt like there was any difference between either of the two options. And really, at the end of the day, I still don't think there is. My personal, let's say, like my personal economy, my personal well-being, my personal access to healthcare, my personal everything. Nothing for me has ever changed. This is just for me. I'm not saying for everyone. Nothing for me personally has ever changed based on, at least not enough that I noticed it. Now my taxes might have gone up or down on my paycheck or whatever, but not enough that I actually noticed it and my life changed because of it from presidential term to presidential term in my entire life. And I've been able to vote. This is the sixth time. So for 20 years, I've been of voting age. The first election, like I said, was the first George W. election, the year 2000. That would have been my first chance to vote. And nothing was different for me between Clinton and Bush, Bush to Obama, Obama to Trump. Nothing in my life, as far as like major anything, has been different. And so therefore, I just don't believe that who's president has that much of an effect on me. But I know that it does affect some people in some ways. And so, but I don't think that it's, you didn't notice a tax difference last year? I just didn't. Like, I just don't notice those kinds of things. Like, anyway, but I'm not, there you go. I've been sort of self-employed for the most part. Last year, actually, last year and this year were the only 2 years in the past, probably 10, maybe even 12 years that I've even had to really like file personal taxes. So I just file, I would always file my business taxes and my personal taxes together, and everything pretty much wipes out to zero. And for 2018's taxes, I got a return back. I got a refund. And then 2019's taxes, so this year I got a small refund back. Wasn't much. But anyway, but I did qualify for the stimulus package, so that was cool because I actually got a 2019 or a 2018. No, rather, whatever it was. However that worked. Either way, I got one. But the two-party system is broken, and I'm trying to disrupt it. And I'm hoping that there are enough other people out there that are trying to disrupt it as well to actually put some votes on the board for a third-party candidate. I just looked it up, and Gary Johnson who was the Libertarian Party candidate 4 years ago, received, I forgot, it was either 3.6 or 4.2. I think it was 3.6. Gary Johnson vote percentage. Let's see. .27. Gary Johnson received 3.27%. Did I write in any candidates? No. I voted for Joe Jorgensen for president. I bubbled in a candidate for state representative and a candidate for county commissioner. And those are the only three things really that were on the Walton County ballot. And then the rest of it was all just amendments. I think there were only 3, maybe 4 actual like vote for a person things. Everything else was just amendments to the state constitution. But yeah, 3.27 is what Gary Johnson got. I think that Jo Jorgensen gets well over 5. And I think that if she does, that's a substantial punch to the gut to the two-party system. I think if that's the case, in 4 years, you'll see a libertarian candidate on stage during debates. I think that things will be a lot different. I sure hope anyway. So yeah, that's all I have to say really. I went out and voted, and believe me, if I can do it, you can too. So get out there and vote. You have until, in Florida, I know pretty much every county is now doing early voting, so you can stop by on your lunch break or whatever you've got all week up until Tuesday. So a week from tomorrow, not tomorrow, a week from tomorrow. So get out there, get it done. I voted. Yeah, thanks for watching. The GrayScale is